Thanks for staying with us. So we have a guest coming in very soon as a celebrity guest. But first, there's a hot topic actually going on social media, which we think is noteworthy of conversation. A famous on-air personality, his name is Kayode Ojuolape Oladotun, probably known as Dotun on social media, is married to a lady, Omotaya, who is supposed to be Dbanj's wife. Sister, sorry.
Right.
Sister.
Dbanj's sister. They got married in 2013, very glamorous wedding. Everybody was talking about it. It was a big wedding. Then in 2022, the wife prayed for a divorce, wanted a divorce, saying that her husband, accused her husband of domestic violence and emotional abuse. The lawyers have been going back and forth with this matter. Now, the reason why we're discussing is because Dotun frustrated because, according to him, the court has given him a joint custody such that during holidays, he's supposed to have access to his children. And for whatever reason, he tried to get his children, and the children weren't handed over to him. And then she alleged that he came over and forcefully tried to get into the house and, getting violent and beating up and, security operatives and stuff like that. Anyways, where we are right now is that Dotun has gone on social media and has gone all out to put out the issue out there. Now, because the case is in court, we may not be able to talk on the matter specifically, but we always like to pull out lessons from these kind of situations where two celebrities or two known people coming together, getting married, having this fanfare wedding, and then the fact that they decide to go their separate ways becomes a national conversation. And then the issue of custody. Why is always custody always an issue? Why don't we have a mature situation where both parties understand? Why can't we have a seamless divorce where adults understand that the children the children's welfare is at stake and they're able to go their separate ways without getting everything all messy? I think that's a real conversation. But what are your own initial thoughts on what happened? And then we'll take the lessons or the learnings we want to take from this entire experience. Who'd like to go first, Mariam?
Okay. So for me, I think one of the things that struck me was he talked about how when the story first came out, it was really part of the story a lot of people heard. Right. And based on what she said and how she described him, he came across as a violent husband, and a violent person. And so maybe she now got more public sympathy because of that, because based on what she said, he was painted and put in a box as a violent person. But then on social media, he's releasing videos that make it seem like she had cooked up that story, that did not look like the person she described. He seemed to have gone there and even politely asked, for the children. So I think for me, the part of the story that struck me is that we need to be careful also as viewers of these things, how we quickly jump into conclusions, I know that usually in cases like this, we tend to go with the wife, we tend to go with the mother, but sometimes until you hear the other side of the story, you can never be too sure what's happening in a home. We've had, and that reason I took because we've had a story here where we had someone who had called us as the wife and mother, and she didn't have custody and talked about almost like she was in a violent situation. When finally we were able to talk to the father, who decided to keep quiet publicly, but we heard that he was actually the better parent. He was the non-violent one. And because he has kept quiet outside for the world to hear, he's been described a certain way. So really, marriage, there's so much going on. And sometimes it can be very different from what it is expressed online. Right. And so that's why it's important for the courts to be able to handle this. But in his own case, it seems that they're at an impasse where the court has said, release these children to him during the holidays, but he's unable to get them still. So that's the contempt of the court. It comes down to the fact that we don't respect our courts. Our government, we say, does not respect. Even Nigerians, do we respect our courts? And that's why...
Nima, you want to jump in here?
When two elephants fight, the grass suffers. The way I see this, these two adults don't know how to be adults enough when they have a fight. Don't know how to respect each other and respect those whose dependence on them will also be affected by their actions. So I don't know the details. I wasn't in their marriage. They have divorced. What we are discussing here is that one person cannot see children, the other person has the children, and probably that person that has the children is saying, don't see your dad. And so you must explain. That's one thing that what happens when you're fighting. If you just to keep quiet, the children will make up, you know, things by themselves. You don't want to disturb the psyche of a child by not answering or answering wrongly or even telling them things that do not really concern them. So you might have been married to a bad person and you know. But if you wake somebody up and tell the child, your daddy,
The wicked man.
is a wicked man, he had not correct. It's because of your daddy that rain fell inside my room. It's because of your daddy that my car cannot move. You people see what your daddy now have done now.
Yeah.
You know, those kind of things, you just sort of mess up with the kids. So I think people should be ready for marriage and the possible other side of marriage in case you fall out with your partner. Because they say foundation. All of us, not be everybody foundation this
Exactly.
when we're married. But how ready are you that, you know, is a possible exit and co-parenting is an option?
Exactly.
You know, because we will not have gotten here if he gets his kids and he goes out with them and he comes back and they, you know, except you have a proper ground for him being an unfit parent.
For the children.
Be here.
Okay. And that should also be determined by the court, not even you. Because you may think he's unfit.
And you
Meanwhile,
go and show court
you are
now.
the one
That's
that
what I
is
mean.
actually
You're
unfit. When I saw this story, I was like, huh, not again. Do we have to involve children again? Can't we just do this thing quietly? At what point does this love turn to hate so bad that you don't want to see this other person? You don't want the person to be a part of their children's lives. At what point? You know, because when you're in that relationship and it's sweeting you, the love of my life, the sugar in my tea, the kokoro in my bread, and everything, at what point did the love of your life now turn to the wicked person who is pursuing you? That you now want to stop everything just to show this person pepper. And women over the years have always used their children as a tool to fight in their battles. And I think it's wrong. We've been talking about this. We'll keep talking about it. Be mature enough to understand that these kids are not involved in the quarrel. And I always mention one of the things I respect my father for till tomorrow is the fact that he did not tell me the details of what happened. I found out as an adult. He didn't call me one day. I know he gets upset and he would just pass some words, but he didn't tell me how this happened, how that happened, how I will not let you see this person. He didn't give me all of that. I found out what happened as an adult, and I will always respect him for that. Though initially, you know, when kids don't understand what has happened, you always see one parent as the villain. Yes. Depending on the stories. But can we be mature enough to allow these children find out by themselves? Give them their time to mature and grow. Don't distort their mental well-being because you want to, you are too upset. You want to pass, you want to let them know what you're feeling. They were not there when you fell in love with this person. They were not there when you decided to marry this person. They did not beg you to bring them to life. So leave them to grow. If you need to co-parent. If you need family members, you know, back in the days, it's family that handles this sort of thing for us. You know, but now our fences are so long, we don't want extended family members. But back in the days when things happen like this, for instance, my grandmother took me because let me just carry the children, me and my younger ones, away from these two stupid people. Took me. She raised me till she died before my father now came and took, you know. So where are the parents? Where are the family members who will say, we don't want these children involved in this? We need to go back to the way we're doing things that worked for us before.
Okay, so you said something which I thought was important, because who determines who is unfit? Because the truth is that I would like to believe that there's no mother that would like to keep her children away from their father. Everybody understands the need for two parents. However, for a mother, hear me out, please. Somebody would naturally want to see that the child is raised by two parents. Unfortunately, life happens where you feel that this man is unfit, or he doesn't have a job, or he's into a bad gang, or he's a cult member, whatever it is. There are things you see that you say, I don't want this man involved in my children's life. Now, at what point, when both of you have divorced, do you have a conversation where, because we've seen Jada Pinkett Smith, I mean, we have so many people's stories of divorce where they are co-parenting, and at some point they realize this thing cannot work, let's move on. So my question is, at what point do we, how do Nigerian parents especially have that conversation of, you are a member of a cult, you are doing this, I don't want that in my children's life, allow me. Why were two adults unable to trust each other where I can't have the kids with me, or you stay with the kids, I'll be visiting. Why is that so difficult for us to understand?
Well, it's just like Miriam said. Sorry, no vex. We don't ever respect the courts. So what I meant when I said you have to show he's very unfit, I meant you show the courts that he's a drug addict, a cult member. Not be say you know in your secret mind. Do you understand? You now just estrange him from his kids. You know, and you're willing with receipts and evidence to show the courts. This is the court that will now rule. Ogbeni, don't go close. 10 meters, 20 meters.
But there's something called that instinct that I know this man wants to take my children to Jamaica. You know, I'm just saying, I'm done. We're not speculating. We're moving away from the call Do2dtun and normal issue because we're not talking about a man. So a woman is thinking, this man wants to take my children to Jamaica. He wants to run away with my kids. I cannot allow him take this kids. That's the reason why I don't trust him. This your custody. The court is saying allow him doing weekends.
That's different.
I have that inkling. I'm not sure. I can't hold it, but I know this man is going to take this child away. Or I know this woman will take my children and run away with them. So that is also there.
That's the risk that you must face as a parent. If a court orders that he is fit and he should have access to his kids, let him have access. If he runs away with your kid, you then come to the court and let them know this person has abused this order. He has run away with the kids. I have full custody. Visitation don't turn to abduction. You go and show a civil court. It's not because recently I was handling one where both of them were parents and they have not even finalized their divorce, but they agreed between themselves, let me have the kids sometime, you have the kids some other time. So the mother now thought, oh, I don't want to leave these kids anymore. I want to take them abroad. And the man said, no, these kids are not leaving because she now lives abroad. I want to take them. There's nobody who has decided custody. And the moment she took her kids, he went to file an international abduction and kidnapping against a parent. It is an exclusively civil matter, and it was sad that the police officer, the IPO that took that report initially, allowed him to fly with the mindset that she could abduct her kids. If there's a court order, yes, that means she has violated the court order. But if it's both of us that are agreeing, just as you can carry your children, she can carry her children. So there's no parents abducting any child, and it's a civil matter.
Agbeze, I'll come to you, Mariam. Agbeze, thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I want to
Can't hear you. Okay, go ahead.
I just want to make a statement that it's not tied last question. Just it's another opinion.
Agbeze, I can hardly hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, I said my opinion is not tied to the particular case in issue you're discussing, but it's also connected with so that people will understand some of these things in a general sense. When there is such issue, there is a presumption that the woman, because we are talking of a child, by the definition of a child under the Child Rights Act, is somebody under 18 years. So once a child is under 18 years, it's a child. Once the issue of the marriage is under 18 years, presumed to be a child. By that law, it's a child. So there is presumption that the woman takes care of the child, or the child psychologically is closer to the woman than the man. So on the face of it, people expect that the court should give such order that the children stay with the woman once they are under 18. But that does not preclude the man from seeing them when necessary or when he desires. It amounts to infringement. It amounts to contempt of court, contempt ex facie. If the woman refuses the man to see the children, being in custody of the woman is not to hurt the man, but it's because the law presumes that everything you do, in fact, under the Child Rights Act, it says that you must do something in the interest of the children first.
Right.
So there is presumption that the woman should take care of the children better than the man at that stage. So that is just the reason why the children are set to stay with the woman. And that should not preclude the man from seeing his children. So it's contempt ex facie.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Agbeze.
Yes. So earlier you were saying that why is it that they find it so difficult, at least for the sake of the children, to come to an agreement? I want to say that to find this sort of issue in a broken marriage or broken relationship is not uncommon, and it's not what's the word now? It's not alien. I feel that that's a product of broken relationships. Remember, we were talking about two people who have gotten to a point where they feel they don't trust each other, they don't love each other, and in some cases see each other as enemies. And then they look at their children as, I'm the only one that can protect my child. This one who is my enemy, there's no how this person can take care of my child without me being there. But then you've gotten to a point where even the court is saying that, you can do it together. And this is where it's more like an appeal, especially, in the early days of this separation and this divorce, which is, I know that the emotions is usually, the emotions are high. But if we can put the children above the emotions, if you can just maybe remember these conversations, and usually people like this, you're surrounded by family members who are able to tell you, put the children above these feelings. These feelings will come and go, but the children, what is best for them? Is it best for them to have both parents involved in their lives? It's true. It's better if there's nothing that we can say, it's not that we're dealing with an abusive parent or we're dealing with a criminal in this case. This is just the fact that we're not together anymore. But the children, if they're given the second part of this conversation was where you said that somebody's afraid, that they may run with the child or abscond with the child. The truth is, you will have those fears. It's okay to have them. But put the children first, solve those issues eventually, but the children can always give your child the opportunity. Do not deny your child the opportunity of getting to know a parent, especially when the parent does not deserve to be taken away from that child. Do not deny a child the opportunity of getting to know their mother and love their mother if the mother has not done anything that would endanger the child, if it's just really about your feelings, or vice versa with the fathers.
Let me quickly take this call and I'll come to your final comments. Good morning, Miracle from Lagos.
No.
Yes, you're live. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. So, sometimes when the emotions are flying up and down, we don't settle down to think properly. We don't rationalize, we don't see clearly. Clearly, there's no clarity, and so we work based off our painful emotions at the time. Because I've often seen that even those people who drag the children the most do not even have the capacity to take care of the children they are dragging. They are dragging them into suffering, as a matter of fact, but because they want to have that upper hand, is me, Shebi, this thing is not working again, I will show you Pepe. They carry those children. But can we get to a point where in your calmness, you see that I may not even have the capacity to raise these kids without this man? Can we work together, or can you carry these children? But we are always afraid of, hey, maybe another wife will not go there and start maltreating my children. This one will not happen, that one will not happen. They will not say, so that's how your husband drove you out of the house and you did not even go with your children. You are a heartless woman and all of that. Can we put those things aside and pay attention to what these kids need?
Okay, we'll continue. We have to wrap up, unfortunately. That's all.
Respect your in-laws. Respect the family. They know they take sword fight, fire fight, or flood fight. These are your kids, and their grandparents. You get to that point, and it's small time now. They're 18. They are out of your hands. It's small. No be online fight.
All right, that's all we can take on that. When we come back, we'll bring in our guest, our celebrity guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.